Welcome to the October 6th. We're going to start out the Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting. I'm going to call it to order. If you so kindly join me in the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Absent. All right, we have in front of us the BZA agenda. Is there any amendments to the agenda at this time? Or is there any amendments to the agenda for the BZA?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
If not, can we get a motion for approval of the agenda, please? Don's made a motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, we'll second that motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. I'll allow these people to get situated and then we'll hold the public hearing.
Where you want to sit, front row? Okay. Be right in front of that deal, I can do that. Hey. Thank you.
Our next item of business is related to BZA 2025-01, which is a variance on lot dimensions located at 579 Ford Lane, parcel 05-10036-000. This property is approximately 25.5 acres. It's currently zoned A1, which has not been rezoned at this point in time. Property owners are coming in for potential adjustment as it's related to that. I believe they're going to seek R3. David, if you want to give us staff report, please.
Sorry. So the property in question is currently agricultural, being used as a turkey farm operation. We kind of looked at this in the previous meeting. The applicants have come back from the previous application of R4, looking at R3. They would like to request some variances along with the R3 zoning. You do have a breakdown of requested variances in your packet and what they're asking for. There's numerous variances kind of along the entirety of the development. A lot of it has to do with depth to get road placement and things like that in right, and then some of them are also for the width. If there's any other clarification at this point, if you have any questions on it, we haven't had the applicant speak to it. Otherwise, we can move it to
I had, before I go to the public hearing, so the proposal on this 25 acres is right at 90 lots, I believe. Is that correct?
And they got the north ridge building.
Good evening, Taylor Lindley with Craft and Toll. Yes, sir. Our current concept is 90 lots.
And of the variances requested, 18 of those lots, or about 20%, is fully conforms to R3.
Yes, sir.
The balance do not. There's 64 lots that was width and depth. Can you give me a kind of run through those, since those are the majority?
Yes.
I think they're all about the same. I know there's a few lots that are not because of a varying property line based on the roads. But for the bulk that lay inside the grid, can you kind of go through those again?
Sure.
Public comment there.
Lots 20, 31, 50, 61, 71, 75, 89, 90. Those are all the in block lots on a few of the blocks. There's still a couple blocks that, based on the road spacing, we couldn't get the in blocks to that 80-foot depth or minimum width per the R3 zoning. But several of the end of the block, we could meet the width requirement, and then the depth was still a restriction. That was part of the hardship of the lot. The actual width of the lot itself, as it fronts forward, is not evenly divisible by 120 to get an even number of lots that have frontage on a street. So you end up with a street that has dual front lots. That was the reason for the depth variance.
And most of the lot widths are 70 feet.
70. That's correct. Still above what R4 would allow, or at what R4 would allow.
Does anybody in the public or the board of zoning have further questions or clarifications that you want ahead of the public comment? All right. Do you have anything further you want to add before I open up public comment?
Just that, I mean, we obviously the first request of the last planning commission hearing was all R4, took the feedback from that and came back to the previous tech review meeting with the R3 request with variances on all the lots, and the comments we received were like, we need to see what's the best you can do, essentially. Like, put your best foot forward, show us a concept that you believe will meet all of our requirements as best you can, and then the lots you would need variances on, and in order to make this site work, that's what we put before you. So hope that we are able to move this thing forward tonight, but if you have any more questions for me, I'm happy to address them after public comment. Thank you.
Well, this time I'm going to open up public comment. It wouldn't matter. If you would, approach the podium, state your name and address, and at this moment in time, it's open. Anyone here that wants to make a public comment? Okay, if there's no one here that's to make public comment, I'm going to close public comment related to the matter. Public comment is now closed. All right, so we'll go to session and take action here. So again, BZA 2025-01, this is a variance for lot dimensions as it relates to 579 Ford Lane, parcel 05-10036-000. This property is currently zoned A1. It has not been rezoned. Any BZA action would be contingent upon successful rezoning. So this would be all contingency if we were to move forward with this. So, David, do you have anything further you want to add as we deliberate on this layout?
I don't think so, not from a zoning standpoint. I think,
It's in the residential medium density. Again, R3 falls well within that. If that's what's being sought after, based on the variances, it is in the karst area of vulnerability. So obviously there's going to be some things that come about engineering-wise that have some level of impact to this.
yes.
So the variances that are applied for now may have to be sought after differently moving forward, or seek additional variance to it based on the engineering review.
I don't think so. I think the engineering review has to do with stormwater and surveying, so that's not necessarily
The house. Okay. All right. I'm looking for some feedback or further thoughts that you have.
So the yellow.
Yellow.
The yellow one's
yellow with green has 0 variances, that means R4 completely, R3 completely. The blue is going to meet the area, or it's just a depth. Depth, it's the proper width, but it's depth on the lots. And the yellow ones that's on here are the ones that are depth and width.
Okay, and how far are they off on the?
So they're off by 10 feet in width? Yes.
Correct. And it's roughly, that'd be like 17 feet on the depth. And as I mentioned, if we went with 125-foot depth on all of these, you'd end up with a street that has or I guess a row of homes that has a street on both sides. It's not possible to divide it up equally that way.
Yeah, the front yard and backyard are both exposed by a street.
Correct.
R4 will allow for a higher density count because you can take a certain percentage of those and make those 65 feet. So we have nothing that's at 65. Everything is greater than that.
The client and developers prepared to sign a bill of assurance as well, that we can pass around for review. It's essentially guaranteeing that we won't exceed if approved for the R3 zoning and approved for the variances, no matter what happens going forward, we won't exceed the 4 lots per acre. That's allowed within the R3 zoning district. So no matter what happens, I think that's the end goal, is to keep that density with what would fall within the medium density growth designation. Sure, yeah.
That's the thing that I think we're all kind of after, is keeping the density levels where it doesn't exceed.
So we've had our attorney draft this bill of assurance. Justin Eichen has read it. He has looked through it. In fact, Justin and David spoke earlier about it this afternoon. This limits us to 4 lots per acre, whether it's R3 or R4. So R4 would be 6.2 lots per acre. We're still assurance that we won't build more than 4. The reason that R4 is cleaner is you don't need any variance. This concept will fit the lot dimensions that we're trying to release if it's R3. So R4, we would give the same bill of assurance, but we would not exceed 4 lots per acre.
Then you have a copy of that assurance, and Hiram has that.
They have copies of the.
Yeah.
I did talk with Justin Baldwin this afternoon, asked questions. He didn't have any issues with that, not received issues with the contract.
Well, I think the table, what's on the table is the variance. There is no rezone yet. The rezone would be the rezone for planning commission tonight.
Yes.
Which then would then also, no matter what on the rezone, it's going to require city council's approval for adoption of the rezone. So this would be, I'm sorry, this is going to be contingent on any successful rezone.
Yeah.
So obviously there's contingencies connected to this. So we've got
I feel
connected.
like that's wise. Well, I think part of the thing is when you look at how many lots are slightly under the R3 lot size, but when you look at the entire project, I think overall, we're not exceeding what technically R3 should be because of you've got a pond in here, you've got lots of different things, so. Yeah, I feel fine about it.
There's connectivity
Yeah, I like that.
illustrated here, which is a key component to any building.
Yeah, it does look like a lot of variances, but I think overall the project still fits more of a R3 feel.
Will be very much like Alex, though.
Yeah.
And if you guys remember or recall,
That's what prompted.
that was one of the triggers that prompted this. And to the point that was made, it mitigates the variances, but also in the same breath of what the future land use map illustrates. R4 could arguably be at that lower density level, right? But R3 is with certainty, and I know that there's been voices in the community in that region. So R3 density is what we want, zoning, I think, is what we want to strive after. Keep that. The variance is what you illustrate here. You're showing at least 20% of them meet that. Actually, you've got 30% of them really are fundamentally R3. Right. And then it's just those core inner lots that's in the grid that are above R4, but less than R3.
That's right.
So, to make the argument, not using another subdivision as the rationale, but more as a aesthetic view of what that is, that's how it's done. So, okay. Motion on the floor.
I don't mess it up.
You want to make a motion, or I'll make a motion?
I can make a motion. Make a motion for the approval of the, resizing of the lots as the variance is written on this concept.
I'll second that.
Ma'am,
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't think she's done with it.
Oh, okay.
Are you?
As presented is what I'm motioning. I'm not speaking on that.
Okay. Also, the big thing to add is contingency. It's all contingent upon successful rezoning.
Okay.
So that needs to be there.
You can't fence it until you go on. Condemnation, I mean,
So, you made a motion for approval
As presented.
of the zoning variances as presented, contingent upon successful rezoning. Okay. The bill of assurance is kind of a side set to that.
That's for the next.
That's, yeah, so,
Can we make the clarification, Ash, real quick? Is R4 on the table as long as the bill of assurance is in place for the 4 units per acre? With no variances?
Do R4 because that's not aligning with our future land use as it sits.
I think the best way to proceed would be R3 and go through the
If you're
variance.
getting the lots that you need, I don't know why it would, like the planning commission's recommendation. That's what we have.
That's
Yeah, they will do that in the planning commission. This is board of zoning adjustments, so after the variance, and then
They'll close this agenda and the planning commission.
Yeah, so the Board of Zoning Adjustments has no, even though it's the same group of people, the BZA has no authority for recommendation for rezoning. It can only do variances to the zoning ordinance. So that's what we're addressing now with contingency. Because it can't really be, the variances can't be accepted until a successful rezoning occurs. Okay? So Fallon's made a motion.
I second it.
Kaylee second that motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right? Those variances with the intent that's been illustrated are approved with contingency. All right. Next item of business is a review of appeal for retaining wall building permit. An appeal with the administrative official for approval of retaining wall located at 8410 West Habitat Lane in Cave Springs is what we're going to discuss. David, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
So, this has recently took an unexpected turn as of this afternoon, a couple hours ago, but we have a residential lot in the city that currently is under construction with a single-family home on it. And because of the topography of their property that they bought, they were looking at putting in a retaining wall. To start out, the history of this is, it was brought to our attention that there was people that were working on the retaining wall, and there was questions about whether or not they had a permit. They had actually gone through all of their HOA, homeowner design things, and had been approved there, but they had actually never submitted anything to the city. So, property owner submits it to the city. There's a lot of back and forth. The code actually talks about how we handle these. It was sent to Cleveland for review, and it was eventually approved to be built. The adjoining property owner at that time appealed the decision, and the appeal does come before the planning commission for the code. More zoning adjustment. So that's where we were at. The appeal does require a public hearing that is to be held at a special call meeting at your next work session, is how we were handling that, because it's not the property that is building retaining wall's fault that someone feels, and is holding up them moving into their entire home. But they have since said that they are only building a 4-foot wall, and that does not require permitting necessarily from the city, anything under 4 foot, under the way our code is written. So that is what came up this afternoon. I have not been able to speak with the city attorney on some of this yet. We already have public hearing and stuff held. That is still probably going to be discussed at the next work session. But as to where we're at right now with it, I'm not 100% certain, because this was some very recent information that I got this afternoon.
So what was the original height?
It was never indicated that it was supposed to be over 6 feet. Part of the back and forth with the drawing that was submitted showed kind of a generic, like, 2 8-foot. So there was some back and forth. We got some clarification, and I'm going to let Adam speak to some of that. But even with that, I don't think there was anything that was ever bad, even if it was going to be 8 feet. I really don't want to speak to that part of it, though. Yeah. But I think the max height that was indicated was always supposed to be 6 foot.
Yeah, there was an error on, well, not an error. The structural engineer did the design, did the calculations and ran it for up to an 8-foot tall wall. And so that's what it showed in the calculation. So there was some confusion on how tall the wall actually was. It was always intended to be a 6-foot maximum tall wall. It started at 4 foot tall at the home and sloped with the existing grade from the home to the south, since the existing grade sloped that far. So that's why it grew from 4 to 6.
I mean, in reality, it started at nothing, at grade.
How far off the property line? I caught a comment, and I haven't seen any of this as factual. It's just a comment that the retaining wall was actually on or within, very near the property line boundary, which I believe our code actually has some language in there that states that it has to be a certain distance from a property boundary. And I could be wrong.
So the wall was designed to be within a foot, 2 feet from the property line. There is nothing in the code that states that cannot be the case. Now, if it's next to a utility easement or public right-of-way, that's a different story. Private property lines, that wall can be right next to the property line. Now, when you factor in the footing underneath the wall, I talked with the contractor, and they were going to make sure that they were at least 12 inches, 24 inches away from the property line to make sure that the gravel-based footer that goes underneath that wall is not over the property line. And that if they were to ever grade or do any work that would encroach that property line on the other side of it, they could give, sign off from that property owner. But as long as they stayed on the private property, they could build that wall right there on the property line.
I guess with some of the changes, are they going to terrace this now, the terrace walls back? Is it, or are they still looking for the same grade?
That has not been indicated. It was just said it was just a 4-foot wall. So at this point, I don't know. It was such a recent change. Honestly, it was just something that was called, essentially, or emailed in. We have not been able to communicate back and forth at all.
So I guess for clarity, at this point in time, we will have a special hearing.
At this point in time, we will still hold a public hearing, and we put it in the paper, it's out there. If we need to make a determination on this, I will definitely have that clear beforehand. It's just, there has been some things changed, and I just, want to make sure y'all are all aware of it. And once I get a little bit more information, I'll, definitely share that with y'all, discuss with Mr. Ivan, and see what all the applicant is actually proposing. Yes, are they changing this to 2 terraced pieces, something along those lines, though. At this point, we haven't had anything different submitted for a wall.
Okay. All right. With that, there is no action.
It was just discussion.
Just discussion. That it's going to come before us as a BZA. All right.
Is there any way we could get pictures of the situation for clarity?
Pictures?
Yeah, just like pictures. Is the wall already built?
I think they may have started on it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not 100%.
I wasn't sure if it was existing, but I just think it's hard to visualize the situation unless we see like pictures,
Well, and I think in your packet there's some design drawings and things.
Application.
And I believe, and there's some of the emails where there was some conversation back and forth. Probably the most,
I saw that.
yeah.
But I kind of like to see it,
Yeah.
like,
So the adjoining property owners
yeah,
lot honestly looks like what would be a drainage lot in Bella Vista or any other subdivision.
oh, okay.
Like if you look at the topo lines. And if you look at, there's, I believe, an email with a picture that Mr. Osweiler had reviewed and sent back to the appeal applicant. He was trying to stress that if anything, this is going to greatly fix this swell that runs down through your property.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of the adjacent, the property owners putting this wall up, their property currently slopes from east to west onto this neighboring property. So by putting the wall there, and that's why they're putting the wall there, because it slopes side to side, and this wall will flatten out their back property and allow the grade to go to the south as opposed to directly onto the adjacent property.
And the south actually is,
It's a drainage.
it is a drainage easement, it's where the water should be going.
yeah, so.
Whereas currently it's going onto her property and then going south. Now it's going to raise it and just let it go south.
So is the issue is purely the look of this wall or the height of it adjacent to her property? I'm just trying to tell the problem.
My understanding is the adjacency of the wall to the property line.
Too close? Okay.
And the code states that with it being within the building setback, and the height of the wall times 1.5 is higher or is larger than the building setback, it needs an engineering certification. Because at that point, if the wall is taller, in theory, than the building setback, and it could, theoretically, if it does fail, could fall onto the adjacent property owner's building. And so that's where I think there might have been some confusion on what's that requirement, how far back it has to be, or just that it needs an engineer certification. addition to the ladder,
Well,
needing the certification.
to be fair, if you look at the picture of how close the house is to the side setback, like you really couldn't bring the wall in too much further because like the wall would run into the back of the house instead of running along the side of the house. So it doesn't make sense.
I think there was some concern about maintenance between like if the adjacent property owner were to put a fence on the property line, that there might be, you know, a sliver of 12 inches, 24 inches of what happens in that space to maintain it from the person that has the retaining wall. And they specified they would put river rock or some type of low to no maintenance type landscaping in that area so they would never have to maintain it.
Fundamentally though, I'm just fundamental data here, is with the retaining wall, you're getting a permanent structure that actually needs no maintenance, whereas a fence, especially if it's a wood material, is gonna need maintenance every 10, 15 years.
Well, I would say putting
If it's-
if there's river rock put on the side of the wall, and it's adjacent to the wood fence, it can actually cause more moisture and stuff like problems for it. So I would be careful with that. But
And
yes.
since it's more than 30 inches in height, it's going to require some type of railing system, fence, whatever on the top of the wall also. And so, even that 4 foot tall, 6 foot tall fence, you know, you're 10 foot tall at that point. I think those are some of the concerns from the adjacent property owner.
I feel like this
But-
is just
Yeah.
But I don't know what we are gonna
There's-
do.
Yeah, I think it's, now that we know what's going on, we keep us abreast of it, because we don't deal with this type of, there's very few appeals like this, so. All right.
Well, like, it's a private property line, it's not public right of way, it's not a utility or drainage easement, it's right next to you, so there's no public involvement or public access to this area.
I think at this point, after what I heard today, there's definitely some clarification that I need to find as far as, you know, what they're doing. And yes, part of that is, you know, going out there and looking to see what they've done. But if they're not proposing to do like a terrace or another wall, essentially, or a taller wall, you know, it's not something that we necessarily permit, and really it's going to become a civil issue after this.
Well, Adam, how does our code read if it were to be terraced? Would that still require, because essentially that would be the same.
I don't think it mentions terracing in the code at all. Does it? I think I missed it.
I mean, it's a lot of municipalities still consider the wall, even if you terrace it back, it's not gonna have the whole height.
It says no closer to the lower wall than 1 times the height of the tallest wall. So if they're going to be 4 foot tall and then offset, and then 2 foot tall, they're going to be 4 foot tall, 4 foot terrace, 2 foot tall wall.
Sorry, that's in the design standards. It doesn't talk about it applicable to permitting, I guess. This is what I was thinking.
All right, I think it's fair to move on.
Yes, sir.
With that being stated, I think it's time to adjourn BZA. Good motion. Val made a motion. Caleb second motion for adjournment, BZA. Oh, sorry. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. BZA is now adjourned. All right, now we will move on to the planning commission meeting. This time I'm going to call over the planning commission. If Madison can give a roll call, please.
Here.
Who? Jason.
Here.
Alan. Here. Sandra.
Absent.
Thank
Absent. All right, we have the agenda for the planning commission in front of us. Is there any amendments for the agenda? If not, can I get a motion on the floor for approval, please?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Val's made a motion for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Haley seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The agenda agenda is now approved. Now we'll move on to minutes from September 2nd. Is there any amendments to the minutes from September 2nd? If not, then a motion to the floor, please. Now then, a motion for approval of the minutes. I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Minutes are now approved. Next item of business relates to SD 2025-04. This is a preliminary plat for Trillium subdivision. This is the property located adjacent to Murdoch Road, in Cave Springs, under the three parcels, 1809343000, 1809343005, and 1809344002. David will do a quick staff update on this, but also the applicant has requested a table, correct?
Yes. So the applicant reached out, requested to table this. They are looking at some changes in their sewer alignment. We actually met, had some discussions. Nothing, no major issues, really at this point in time. I know at the previous work session, they felt very close and, they were hopeful, but they felt it was best at this time just to wait, give them a little bit more time to look at some changes potentially out there in that area. So, unless y'all have any specific questions, I don't think we have anything from a staff standpoint that's changed significantly or anything to bring up.
So they said there's sewer alignment.
The new sewer alignment.
And drainage, and a lot of drainage changes to help accommodate the offside water that was flowing to the sides of the pond.
Okay.
Yes.
That kind of went straight kind of through the core at one point. Am I wrong on that?
Water
Or sewer. Sewer was.
Yeah, I mean, it went through the center and side, to the roundabout, and was exiting the property on the southwest side of it, going through the offside property, there's a acquisition of offside easements, and they're trying to lock in that alignment to try to help reduce the depth of the sewer. Because right now, we're getting close to 20, 21 feet in some areas, specifically under the roundabout. So by trying to realign some of those things where it exits the site, there's an opportunity possibly to shallow that sewer.
All right. Fair to move on to the next item. Next item of business is RZ 2025-06. This is a rezoning request from the Bushes at 579 Ford Lane. Parcel ID 0510036000. If you recall, we had a public hearing last month in regards to a rezone request to R4. The applicant has came back and requested an R3 after the feedback from the public hearing and commentary from the planning commission. David, I want to turn it over to you for another staff report, please.
I think we're all pretty familiar with this at this point. We just discussed the variance request for this, and nothing has changed in the last few weeks other than the clarification of that variance request that we discussed at the work session. I don't think anything's changed from the staff level as far as our input on it. And we don't have any issues right now.
All right, so we're looking at a rezone from A1 agriculture to R3, which is 25.5 acres. Located at 579 Ford Lane. Any questions from the planning commission after we got to this point? I think we're all in general consensus at this point in time, I believe. All right. Well, it's ready for an action. I'm going to make a motion for
recommendation for approval of the city council for rezone the subject property from A1 to R3. Kaylee seconds that motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, that rezone recommendation will be from the city council for R3. Thank you all. Next item of business is to discuss the master street plan and future land use map. So I did not. Oh, do I want it in there? Well,
We don't need it for the R3.
for the art, I don't believe we will need it. Here, how about I do this? We're still,
I don't know that we can.
I don't know how it ties to that directly. I think we need, here, let me do this. I'm gonna make,
Before you do that, with our vote to change the number of lots, the number of lots added to the lot, so we shouldn't even,
it
that.
shouldn't really be.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah, it doesn't, yeah. And I'm just gonna defer this
To the.
to the applicant and Mr. Eichmann. I mean, that's really, it's a legal thing.
It is, and they're working on it, I mean, we still have city council to go before the
It may be
and realistically, that's
That's where it should reside.
that's where it should reside, I would, that's what I was thinking myself.
Yes. And since we only gave a variance on X number of lots.
Yeah. So really this, again, in front of the council, it makes sense. Put this in their purview, they're the one that has the legal scope.
That may be where it needs to go in with their packet. Just if, you know, the applicant, if that's the thing that we handle it, this is the number of lots we have variance on, and that's it.
Anything weeks ago on this that we still have to discuss, or do we know if it's
Well, Jason
Well,
wasn't.
I wasn't here.
And I was saying,
So we wanted to be like.
oh, that's right, yes.
I wanted to talk through some things, but really we wanted to wait for it out. And then now make it.
Oh. Yeah. Well, at least you're sure. Okay. Yeah, one reason
Y'all want to all go over to that table and discuss, are we ready to move example, you and Mr. all that?
That's what we're ready to move on to. So,
I'm just,
We're moving.
I thought, sorry, he's looking for tables, he's looking over, what it says over there, and Scott's going to be there, we want.
yes.
Alright, so I've got two copies of the same, each copy is the same, just in case there's more eyes than you see it.
Oh, yeah. And I know that there's some topographical hurdles there.
Yes. Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, here's what I wanted to say on that. So,
You guys want to go on that?
yeah, we can do it.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're good. I'm just too busy to read that.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about on that is, in my opinion, again, I'm just one person. My opinion is to at least illustrate that connectivity. And well, just even if you illustrate the intent that we want something in the area, and here's what I'm going to say. Well, it does. It has a side. There is a side. here's what I'm gonna say, showing, illustrating that connectivity, whether it be a straight line, or curves through here, whatever. Because if you recall, this subject property here 10 years ago, well, what happened to the trails? Well, what happened to the trails? It became a big stink. We didn't put it on here, on some of the stuff, because they said, this is, we backed out, it's never gonna change, this is blah, 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 blah. Here we are, 10 years later, money talks, this is now being demolished, and will become a subdivision, and we've lost every ability to do that, because 5 years ago, we yielded to those comments. That let, I know there's some comments here, this is so-and-so, it's never gonna change. Guess what?
Well, with that neighborhood.
Things change.
I mean, with that neighborhood, there's already, we talked about sometimes, actually, we looked at the property.
We had it previously before.
It was
somewhere. It just follows kind of like the hierarchy to try to have as minimal earthwork as possible.
Yes. But I think that we talked about it, putting though where we had it, because over there,
That's
property
gonna be
lines
right
all,
there.
so it was, there wasn't gonna be.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right.
Development.
Yeah.
Even if it's talking about the center of that development and then go over. So we have to work out
But
how to get back to grade.
I just want, my opinion is show the intent that it's here. And
Let me just ask, are y'all wanting it to at least start an alignment with Hillcrest there, or no?
Because they don't even do that, so we don't have these lots. We start over.
Okay.
well,
That was like when the thought was coming through this neighborhood where it came out.
well, again,
They're also
but,
higher.
but,
You can't. Hard ones. Get through it. So we're looking at the corner being where we already have, and then if we put just a road there on houses, no one.
well, here,
And I know.
well, what happens, somebody, depends on, that's not gonna be its own development, more than likely, that's not either. These aren't, they're gonna collect, try to collect them all to create it.
So we did an email out with the code study.
So I had Madison, I thought she lost it, because I can get into it now.
I feel like there's an issue that I can say.
I feel like.
It's never done that before. I mean, the exact same thing I've always done is I'm sorry.
Whatever it is this morning for me.
Yeah, if you request access, I can go in and get an email and then grant access, but I can't change it after it's sent out, without setting out the rules. I did approve it, yeah. I just saw it on my other group, so.
Gotcha.
But I will like check next time I fill out an packet and.
Well, I looked at it earlier, I thought, okay, I got, like, I don't have some like activity or something like that. So I laid it aside this morning and doing some things, and I'm like, okay, there's something else.
Yeah, should you catch it early enough? I didn't.
Well, yeah, so I we need certain outside will show me that the center and I didn't.
I'll triple check before I send out the I think also because I feel like this is where you get the issues with progressing on the streets. This is like easier that screen thing. I might see it coming this way for residential.
We can want to talk about, you know,
And for trying.
it seems like, I mean, you know, there's some more stuff about this one store.
Yeah.
Same thing with Brown. Brown's fine, quite a
bit right in here.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem with this is there is no right of way. And it's already narrow to where road got paved. And
Well, we were just talking about it as a compared to the total, like.
Yeah.
No,
I'm saying, this is,
I'm just talking about where you're for a collector here.
Well, that's what it's looking like, how do you get a road here because of the way there is no right of way. Coming in and getting the right of way now, and some of these.
Well, for ground, I guess.
Yeah.
But still, like, that's what you were saying, showing us the collector, you know, where we were at, what we were talking about. That's the drainage thing.
So he told me where he said end up.
Well, we already have a line there.
It kind of went right along this bottom of this property line right here, and it kind of swayed back.
It's probably bad. They had us, if you want to square the hole, and I'm copying the pieces, I think it might have.
But I'm thinking like, how would this really connect?
Well, we're connected to the subdivision, it would just be from Clay. It would just be right here,
Just to get from here to here.
for that one section.
Yeah.
Partial.
Do you want to connect it to here, or do you want to connect it to that one?
Well, you know, it's got a stub out, again, it's kind of, it's high.
So
It could be like that.
Because what we have before, kind of ridiculous,
good news, we have Topa and we have the original line.
Oh, it went the opposite way. It kind of did, sway back.
and also,
I feel like that makes a little bit more sense than down here because.
part of the reason we originally looked it up here was also the current existing transportation. We had showed trade. So it just made sense when we were looking at this, to go ahead and show a road kind of in this area, and then as we were using that for transportation. We're going to put that in front of the section.
Is it gone then? Didn't you have it for you?
I think it was one of the walk on the hard
Well, so the reason it's long is there is because of this connection.
We haven't got
That's, you know, originally we didn't try to, if it really goes in this area, it needs to go try across the test, otherwise.
That's the offset by.
Yeah.
taxi line. I went out there.
But we're all saying you want to go through it's like this, based on that plan.
So we're talking about this
We haven't mapped the proposed flow routes just because we didn't talk about the subdivision code in that, but it is on the left hand. I mean, it is an option if you guys think it's
an important.
super important and needs to be shown. It is an option that you have.
And so.
The chances of that, you know, improved one that were in this residential, not as good as this, where just people would be going here, they can go here, and they wouldn't necessarily go over here.
Have we ever done a traffic study on this? I don't know, there's a lot of cars, because I mean, I'm like one of them, I'll come up this way part of the time, yes, this is windy and stuff, but then I meet people coming up and down through here.
Oh, I used to go down here.
It's hard to.
One of those, yeah.
Hard to get through it. So.
I was just curious, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
And they're putting more curve on the other side of it.
Yeah, I think it's good. You
Yeah.
Hey, it would be something that would only have something opposite, but still has on that. Something that's still high. But you don't have the majority of it. What? No. I think this is collector now.
Yeah, just as a reminder, even your local section, if it were, it doesn't meet the local section currently, right? And so that even, if you did see incremental development through there or a partnership with the city, even having it as it's currently shown, you would still be getting a sidewalk, and you'd be getting a lot more between, a lot more drive off. But I don't disagree that it is such a link that if it were improved, it would continue to function more like a collector.
Not that it couldn't, but I think that all the energy stuff that's going to happen here, people may start, you're already seeing people trying because of it. Yeah, during construction, but you're already seeing the traffic through here. People are starting to come off of here and try to find an alternative. I mean, so the more people have one following it, it's like when you get down here to Puffy Creek. You know how that is in Springdale, Lowell, Springdale. It used to be dirt road, and then it goes up by the quarry, it runs around, and paved it. Now, they need to put up a sign that says no truck traffic. There it is. And you got guys driving trucks and trailers through there coming from those businesses on the other side through there. And there's nothing for them.
Yeah.
Wishes you wouldn't know.
Oh, I didn't have a choice. It was not the same. I had to change it. I was just worried that you go on. Especially that corner where the trees, it's not this wide.
It's like where the water, it's the dirt.
Yeah.
It's just, anyway,
I think that's good. Collector.
So this is a collector though.
That's what we had initially done. We talked about
I'm okay
some-
with this not being a collector, not being a we put this as this.
well, so that's exactly what we have. So you have this plug here, so that's along the goes here. And then one thing trying to connect it.
With the city goes road though.
Developers.
We will.
Just like we do, I don't want to see.
Or like, we want to see that be a road.
It's like if you had already had a doctor through here and then the listening came in, then they would require to make connections through there. You're already getting it probably with this development, some of the location. But yeah,
Well, you want these connectivities.
and you all have, as long as they connect from a point A to a point B, you can allow the developer exactly where they go. So it doesn't have to go to the middle.
I can totally see the time, a coalition.
This is just an intent.
I mean, a good example there.
Not Miller Lane.
Well, there we go. A good example of that is this. I mean, granted, we already got the section yards, but there was some other day off.
Shut it down.
Like that. I feel like.
He got it. So,
Nobody wants to.
we're going to
And then what do you guys want this to be a proposed local or proposed neighborhood collectors or proposed regular collectors? Because we have the neighborhood also as kind of a side of the right away.
It's almost.
It is only looking for like residential. So, I mean, so we have neighborhood one.
We do. Yep.
You want neighborhood or you want? What do you want?
A local.
Which we are. So, well. So they well, I think we're not seeing. I think they're starting to shed, say, 612.
Exactly.
Or bypass.
That's my assumption.
And then the burden, there's already. What did you talk about?
Paul's been running a building. Yes. Well, there's
That's just.
they're looking at
Yes. Yes. I just don't want this to be like Missouri and Arkansas where. Well, it was like, remember the bypass? It was like, Missouri had it stubbed out, Arkansas couldn't get their act together, then Arkansas finally got their act together, and Missouri let them learn to go the road things, and then they still couldn't make the connection.
The chicken and egg kind of thought there.
So, collector, neighborhood collector, or local is what I think we're talking about. Neighborhood collector.
So,
I do, because I also think it's from the area that looks like it will introduce. It's just
about that?
Well, it is, and I agree. Well, what happens was that we ended up on the section highway, and then we went on the Walls Road out there where all that expenses, you know, you drive to there and from back. We can get you, hey, I'll load it, so we should get some stuff in there. Not necessarily a big, it's like that, but I just, at least a consistent privacy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
It's a consistent privacy.
She tells me,
I mean, I was supposed to have that little black thing on, I have to show you how we're going, like, you know, like, how you really hear
I
it.
saw that publication. It's great.
Yeah.
and I was like, have something we want it. And he was like, how? And I was like, oh, just no.
We're working on, you know, incorporating the master plan, obviously. Well, I haven't seen that in other, we'll talk about the streets. I think, you know, we want to, after we go to meetings, you know, look at incorporating, get to the condition, you know, we reference it, how we're going to. But,
There's only one spot that's left.
but it makes sense.
So, if we want to go on,
Well, yeah. But how can they, the thing is there's nothing over here.
There, I think, we'll have to work connectivity within these two where they get and there's obviously this section here. So there's obviously super nice. Well, I see trail would be on that side of that break.
Well, the thing is, the shores are getting used, I get so tired. Why do we don't have proper sidewalks for a lot of this? But what we have, people don't use it. But then people get out here on shores and run, and there's no sidewalks, or they bike, especially rainbow, and it's just an accident.
I'm all for having a trail all the way from Lake Worksession. And I thought that's coming in, or push toward it. But yes, I mean, that's from a trail, I was
Yeah, we go with year, see, we at least, we had a trail through, there was a trail, right on here because they didn't clean up to this area. And we came on this side of the area. And then everything trail here.
how easy break would be, it's gonna be on that trail on the highway.
This is a wooded trail. That's exactly what we had. So. But we indicated on the opposite side of the tree, through here, there was one problem with the patch. There's actually a little property that's a little further than he actually owns, or the student district owns. It's a little sliver. You can actually grab it and jump across and go on over.
Straight there.
This is where you get burned because you're just riding in the sun next to the
Yeah, well, that's because that's part of it.
It was, this was so clear, so this was green, but this was back.
So we just got this split or something like that.
Yeah, and one thing supporting that though also is that was dedicated on that 2006 plat as a right of way, 150 feet wide right of way, as it bridges out this walking there. And we looked at the assessor, it's not being, it doesn't look like it's being taxed, so we felt like it was to continue that with us. The other FLU change since the 15th of September is pulled all this wood up to here. So, Fallon, does that kind of look like what we did talk about at last meeting?
Did we want to try to see the?
So I was going to bring that up.
Because we talked about it. Well,
the biggest thing we talked about was this. But then when we get there, we're talking about, well, I'm just so over here, it's right on the road. And it's got a street, jump over here, it's got a street. So, that's clear. How do you like, I'm okay with you.
Because it never moves, it changes.
That line, yeah,
My husband.
the tires that you reflected in there.
Just call it,
Or do you want to go all the way down?
But they don't decide to go over. I know we were told like that, so that I can go.
Because this is all developed.
well, isn't this also, where is the right of way for that sewer system or the water distribution?
It runs kind of like about your saying, it's like right here.
Well, I know, we don't, but I'm just saying, it's that nothing can be built on top of it other than a road.
I don't know if they need to know cost more if they have no like access, you know? So, like, some people are like against,
Especially. Not parallel.
You don't see ours goes across their city.
This is the only thing, we just have a local electric, or local connection up here, where they came over and fixed this.
So we want to put like neighborhood. So we want to get there.
It does, yeah.
Also,
It definitely does.
Yeah. It signs up and says, sidewalk was present, any bunch of use, what is? I just don't understand.
This is that's a place you guys need like you need to explain in terms of on-street parking. In case you have on-street
well, it's got the potential areas for
This is why we have this one.
This is actually the because this is actually where the one of those goes right there all the way up to the blue.
They just keep
It follows that. So we can just bring around this that side of it. Yeah. Because you can see where they have it behind it.
And you keep coming down. And when you turn around, you're in this valley. I don't know, so kind of get the idea.
Yeah.
Just still there. And it was.
Why not? This was harsh.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
So that's they are showing the local. Yeah. So that's, I guess that's my big one. This is south. So we either have to stay over in this area.
You stay here, and there's nothing to do, but you got some piece right there.
Well, you're not at design phase yet, so there's ponds in the intro part. You can make the ponds for us. They can even do your ponds.
Trail to the lake.
That's still on sort of moving it that much. Because that was the one piece of the.
Yeah, it was something there. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, you can put box culvers on there, or you bring ice fishing, get some of the, they sit there and put some orange flag. Then there'll be 74 more lots on there to pay for that. Those guys out there ice fishing. Okay, so.
We just plugged that and then it's working.
But we got the intent.
Yeah. But you guys, if you want to see neighborhood budget here, neighborhood budget here, right? Okay.
I mean, it'd be perfect, it'd be great to make this around. Well, That's how he got his air, because he was trying to save his brother.
Did we need to look up at?
So, there is.
No, I was like, we didn't talk about.
So, yeah,
It's on the.
there it is. You know, so we definitely is where the window is, right? You know, what I had originally talked about was just doing away with the wall, like up to that point, and leaving this
I
collector.
like it, but it's not.
Whether or not that needs to be collector is up to debate. You know, I think there's some good cases made where, you know, this is really just local, because it's there and there. You could downgrade it to the neighborhood collector. I mean, this is collector, but it's collector, it just needs to stop. Because we won't talk about pulling over here, and that's the way it's shown. But really, it could just be neighborhood collector there, and then you let load shelter build in that, because this is, and what we talked about was this was a major collector. Doggins and
Hey, isn't this though, where you have this guy gets here, he's gonna get it, it's just like a whole show.
no. He was against letting their market.
Okay.
And then making them know that parts we took that down.
So you're thinking, on this coffee down here, you wanna see it change from what we have down here?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I think if anything, it needs to show this as opposed to. But if you wanted to, we could upgrade it to the different.
you still,
It is currently a local,
yeah.
it's showing as a current.
If you want to see.
Oh, yeah. Guys, please.
That's, it's just the name that actor, so well known.
Yeah.
They, as an adult.
So those are all rules, 3 days. Yes, right.
Jerry.
So,
Jerry O'Connell was in it as a teenager, like
But
30.
I just, not for those reasons, I'm certain
it's going to service this and this another point. They're going to have to do, the point that I realize is, they're already doing this as a collector,
Yeah.
then they're going to do this as a collector, and then this is a major highway.
Well, they're not gonna be able to, this is only gonna be able to turn right anyways, so I think people are gonna wanna come back and use that.
I think from this neighborhood, they're going to come out and try and take this territory, is that weird?
Yeah.
If anything, it would have been better,
No,
having this as a collector up to that. From there, if anything would have been better served as a collector, it's from there to there. Because this, I think this is underdeveloped now, they're going to have street improvements.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know where they are.
But it made a lot more sense to me for that, because also that means they're going to put a roundabout in there. They go in there, they go in there, they go in there, now they're all going there. I know it's not showing one, but I bet you sometimes the project.
Is that where? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the one that's there, that little guy that does.
But I don't know where
That guy is right here. There's a little sawmill and stuff. Yes.
I thought it was a guillotine one. I was like, is that a chicken? No, I think it was meat. It looks like it's
What do we think? Local neighborhood collector. What's the difference?
Better than.
Well, 50 and 70, and then you're back to still 70, because they have big green space.
Versus,
Well, and I missed the little thing.
Yes.
What did we already?
50.
Yes.
I know.
And what's it now?
No, it's not.
Then it was.
Yeah.
It's the smallest.
It's going to be local with the red.
So we've already done that.
Yeah.
Like, we through.
Oh, I don't remember it having a curve like that.
No, it's.
Well, what we approved isn't that what they were proposing and wanted was that, but because of the other stuff, they can't do that.
Well, no, so what's being approved is like,
Yeah.
has living curve and it's very narrow.
We have this, but we don't need mapped it.
Yeah, but I think that's what they're gonna do, because there wasn't enough right of way, and other property owners weren't gonna flood. As, we want this, we want this, we want this, so we gotta agree, oh, we want this, we want this.
That's what we're going for, because that's kind of what we are doing. So maybe it goes back.
Especially if that's kind of what is playing out there, anyway, it sounds like.
I would rather say local, as opposed to show this, because I wouldn't necessarily want, I don't think.
That to be the.
Yes, I wouldn't want someone to want to do that, because when these two,
After this gets sorted out.
when these two develop, I don't want this one, I'll go back in a local, which will go there and be, you know what I mean?
I thought you were just talking about.
I'm sorry.
If you're already developing this and it's servicing this. They are together every year, starting to year, and we have the number in here.
That's
I know.
yeah, that's.
If they wanted to turn over,
I would put it as a local, not that, because you know darn good well, they're gonna want to access once they start developing.
And then there, to me, local, if they're on the local, they're on the rural, also don't want rural, like, I don't want them looking at this, they're thinking, oh, you're only have to, you don't have to do any, still previously, before the last meeting,
We wouldn't have had anything because it's some of this.
You're adopting that mission.
I'm saying, well, we can have. We now are imposing, more of a requirement for them.
I think it helps them because it gives them better access on the sides of the property, because they're gonna need
But we are allowing development to develop, they're not happy with it, and now we're on a map, and they know. They know. Now we're talking about building on that,
I think that's just the way development goes though, because it's, and, you know.
Well, because it was never, this was all stuff really
And
we never even actually got a chance to acquire it. They were like, well, we want to do this.
Yeah,
It's
I think
not
because whenever they're ready to develop, there's land that they require to dedicate on what their current MSP map shows at that time. Yeah.
But because this is the, look at
That's gonna come out.
you know, I just want to make sure.
They have to. But they could have sold it now, but now they.
Yeah, but that's how, but these maps get updated periodically, and you have to stay at least every 5 years.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Well, no, what I'm saying is.
I don't care. It's like you move forward, and I don't want to take any considerations because we lost our rights on doing that stuff because of what people say. And I don't want to do that anymore.
Well, what I'm saying is, if they would have sold it and turned it into the road it should have been, then they would have made money on it, and it would have already been the road that it should have been. Since they didn't, now they're.
It's on the right. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Didn't that come back and kind of bite them?
Oh, I know.
Because
Yeah, I mean,
they're-
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying now. I thought you were saying.
No, they should have sold it and scissors paid for it, but now they're gonna have to give it, because they're gonna have to.
Yes, yeah.
So if they would have done what they thought they could have done, then it would have helped.
If everybody had been neighbors and worked together.
Yeah.
That's right.
The greed is not that we don't want. Like they say.
Well, it's just, when you talk about the neighborhood collector, we're just staying in the
That's so.
Hey, honestly, after the whole thing, just talked about a second ago, if I was going to put a collector in here anyways, anywhere, I would want to do that one. from their entrance, and let's just be local.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of for just letting it be local, because I think 50 foot right now is what we're showing on anyways. Here's the thing also, it might be all local. What are the chances someone's going to come in here and put a subdivision with on their house? I don't think they are. I think it's, well,
I think it could.
I think that's so
I mean, we know this isn't.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, I think this is going to be mixed use, I think there's going to be different roads in here. Even though this is showing as local, I don't think we're going to have garages pulling in like this all that, that's what I'm saying.
No.
That's what I'm saying, that's what I mean, a single family subdivision. I think it's going to be a local size development. Because I don't think there's going to be, yeah.
To support what's happening up here.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, even though it's the size of the local, I think it's going to function as a collector, and I don't think there's going to be any single family homes or residences actually access their property. So it's still going to function.
It's cut in
Effectively.
And honestly,
I
if
can go-
you're,
I'm
it'll
really-
only
this
be
is
the
up to
people
y'all.
trying to go right, I think if you're trying to go left, I think they'll be able to add some doggons or something, because.
The nice thing about
they're gonna
a
be able to
collector
do
is you do still have a attorney. But we don't know if that's, the only thing, the nice thing about collector is once you get out here, you still have a attorney.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so that's the nice thing about it, but we don't know if they could even take a left-hand turn, it might be a right. That's right. Exactly. So then you're still kind of to, like, what?
Have you pulled up our house to see
Yeah,
where traffic now is? Because that's happening.
if it is local, and then they want to know.
It's usually-
We have the latest app that is available, I don't think it's updated, it's like a couple years old. We can look at that and see if there's a medium right there, is that how you're thinking?
Yeah. Because it's gonna be already 12.
Let me see, yeah.
I don't know where it's.
So, collector, local. Local, I think we're all local. Yeah. Okay. I think it's just gonna stay the way it is. I don't know if we should do that, or should we propose local, or just leave it like that? Because what we talked about before, was naturally fill in what's there, because we have to set out for their activity.
There's one I
Yeah, so if they're gonna develop this, they're gonna have to get a street connection to this subdivision.
And so we're saying,
because he cuts his own.
So we're good with that. I do have something else that we have not talked about, that actually came up today, that I really want to talk about.
oh, we did talk about that previously.
Yeah.
And somehow it's just correct. Yeah, it's yeah.
So, yes, it's like control, and if people just doing like a little baby or
Probably for.
Why such a look out?
How far apart?
It's straighter than it was.
No, they're very close to there, not even because you've got
I just learned
that
something
in
about
on both sides.
Okay.
She sells this, oh, because this is such a, apparently, both of them are sales.
I know, that's what I told her.
Is that what the sign is?
No, that's the bars, right?
Yeah. But this is your life. This will be this.
Apparently, you're entertaining all this.
Will they get that on there? Like tomorrow.
And
Because it sells and then somebody comes in and wants to, I mean.
well, here's the thing, I think we talked about it, because of the same thing, reasons, where it's like, we didn't want this, and I think these people, they need to be nice.
Yeah.
This is the recommended as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I think this one's probably not going to, And they're still gonna, and so this, you know, this coming out is probably like that, right? And it will probably do something like this, and then something right. I don't care how we do it.
Just something.
It can come over, but I just want.
Yep.
Back. Yep. Because I was actually about that. Don't use the rest of it. You not use But yes, you know, if it is, there's a paved road with fences on both sides all the way through. You know, we got a sewer there. Water don't figure out where the little station is long as it's down and turning. This, you know, is getting real all out there. You know, coming down here. There's no reason that this is long as it would be a much better path to move.
Yeah, you can go over there, you shoot.
Yeah.
As long as that wheel's turning, you're down.
That was the only thing, like, that came about today officially, and I was like, yeah.
So,
that changed so fast. No further to think back to the city council, so.
You guys ever do things right? I mean,
No. I would think I might be able to add anything fast.
Well, yeah, we have a lot of stuff that the master plan. We didn't hope that 100% we hope it did. I think the only place we had some, you know, differences was like in this area. Yeah, because we're without, just kind of, this was stuff they were showing us.
That's the
Some, mixed use or something. And I don't see anything in the.
That's the all when he did Cajun, and he had really good at it, he had really good at that.
That requires a membership.
Team.
Not when it comes to future planning.
you guys, we spent the full part talking about this down here and whether or not this should be pulled up and cleared it up, you know.
We didn't talk about if you're gonna remove this. Is there any, like, anything else in this connection? We're not in circles. But I would love to see something on the plan, and I know this is very far fetched, but something that says we are going to get a connection. I don't know, in those circumstances.
The further stops.
But it's not that problem. There's 8 things that are wrong. Yeah, I just feel like that's our last long.
We want to how many feet you get taken, how many for that, 20, 30. But for the sake of point, we're there for so long.
I'm concerned that we're, that's our last little piece,
But-
and I know it's a line. That's why I'm wondering, didn't we have a meeting, we tried to build a window on the side.
It hasn't had any sort of, just something.
The old board.
Yeah.
So the layout,
But it was probably, it would have taken.
because of the long it was.
And plus, the
The
kind of
layout, but they have a connection off the bat. It was kind of like, this, and they had all stuff there, and stuff.
I know what you're talking about.
That's the way we're actually just as easy as something like that. Where later on, it's about this development and but that's still local. But that means it's not local. That's the
Well, now, there was a, you got that water place there, they wanted.
So you want to see
Equally pretty good water.
Everyone is going to.
What?
Everyone's on board.
There's one, some stuff.
It's not.
Yeah, years and years, it's still got this place right there. And so, they're all, everybody gets over here, a lot of people look at this intersection right here, right? There's a frustration there. They're frustrated here because it's just the property there, right? And so, there's people that say going through, over to Bellevue house, and there's people trying to get down here, but this is all shut down. So people are, this is why I say, I'm seeing more traffic.
I think a lot of people are coming out here
This thing is, because I take one of the ones in the city, and this property is like, I went all the way past, I took 612, and if that brings here on, two problems.
that was the fastest way. He's like, oh yeah, and he goes to the last one, that's over time.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, that's, they're going south, and he's like, you gotta go,
It never happened, but hey, at least we got something. So, come over here,
Was
like this. Do we want to just kind of,
I say,
like that, or go around?
I say, and let one year, well, that's just me. Because, and I say that not because the variable goes with property, just because we're up here, this is just a natural.
Well, if you can do this and this, it's square, it could be the one property boundaries. Something like that. Okay.
And where the information, you know, is.
Well, Mario's got nothing going down with those few homes, it's like. Well, so that's, to me, we were going to get our information, I think it's only a whole, I think it's up to us, maybe to collect over there, and then let whole there. Yeah, because that's another section, we need to have a full section, you have to right.
Oh, this one here. Oh, right. Yeah, everything else.
Yes,
Don't they own the houses in here? These people, like,
There's 7 blocks here, that's not here, here. So that's a slaughter down here, is that property. The mother-in-law's here, yeah, so Peter's wife, that's his dad, and that's his, or sorry, his mother-in-law's old house right here, and then Peter's right here.
What is that?
That's
I thought they had a house that was up there on the hill or something like that.
oh, it is,
Yeah, I was thinking it was a house that's over here on the hill. No, yeah. So what is this one right now? After the failed event center. Somebody's.
I can ask Andrew.
They're across. Yes, yes. Is that what that is?
I didn't know where your apartments were.
I know there's a public hearing for this property.
Oh. I feel like they've been fixing that little house now.
They got, I don't know, they got a little event tent, they got like a little event tent. Yeah, so.
I was like, what if I have a wedding out here?
Yeah. Oh, you mean Providence? Like Big Professor Rogers. Because I mean,
Oh, I have seen Providence.
Providence's down at Bellevue,
Yeah.
down or Spring Creek.
Yeah, that's who they have the sign.
Well, the Catholic Church owns a big chunk of property, like 50 acres or something there, and then Providence owns for they're gonna build a private school there.
I saw the Providence sign.
It's
When I
back
was
there.
trying to cut through.
Howard, there's like a carol that's there. It's all around.
Near that storage.
Yeah.
There's like a storage, yeah. I was looking at their screen and I was like, oh, it's a lot of screen.
Anything else?
So what do we want to call this? Well, we said something different for right here, though. Collector, neighbor collector, or collect?
If it's going straight off the ground, to me,
It's
you have
for a
to-
regular school.
I said, to me, it's going straight off the
Oh,
ground.
yeah, then
It
just
would just
keep
be a
it.
regular one.
Yeah, regular. Will that storage school have to
They'll have to.
fix up their diet?
But if they look at our map, so that was something they.
How was it? Perfect. Well, at least it's over it.
I was having to compare.
It gives them the ability to watch everybody birds and.
That was wondering about, because we do have joggers and bikers on this school.
Well, it does, yeah, people go there all the time, they can, it's just the issue with something like that is, most of it's already developed, so what we would do is, we would probably go out of the way, out of the light, and for the most part, and then it would be up to the city to have to approve the project.
But you also might get development still on your bigger track through here, you know, some of that you can get from private.
I mean, we can go around it.
So when I,
Yes.
when I work here on regular.
Yeah.
And so I think. Well, I don't know, so. Well,
Still like it. Sometimes work at the spring hills and
They're used to not seeing us.
Say that about
It was the one where the compliment learned, we were seeing.
I know. Where's he going?
He looks like he knows where he's going.
Look at that smart
If you would get some truck in the house, so yeah, they always follow.
But this is about, this is in order to develop like
We're getting close, we're putting finishing touches on it, I guess, like, you know.
because the spring don't have allowed it to look at they were gonna do.
So,
Like.
if y'all want to see it, you wanted to see but we got to have a few more changes than we had in the past.
But we have to take action on it. We want to get it in front of the city. No, it's board of zoning.
Yeah, nothing to do with this.
We should send it back to the council with the changes. Let's do that, and then.
Do we have to, I thought we
Yeah.
like international.
You probably do, because they send it back to you guys, so.
Have an adjourned, yeah.
You have an adjournment. There's no proposal, like.
So you-
I saw it. Oh.
We wrote them on here.
We can vote around of this, and say, continue to apply these changes.
That's true.
I mean, is that?
And I can sit down with my peers and edit.
About all the changes that we.
Next week.
I think so, what day is it?
And,
It's six. Not 6:30.
Okay.
So there's, I think, keywords right
Yeah.
that we are focusing on the level of business.
Yeah.
We are really focusing on. Looking for any future opportunities in that work. Sell it
Mhm.
that way.
It's one of those things like,
We made some good.
we will make a change every time we do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, this is the prime example.
Yeah.
Because we've gone over this, we've seen this, we've talked about it, we've changed it, we've talked about it, changed it, and then you have one meeting and it changes. You know, and we did, you know, we could have not made this change, we could have met about this in a year, like, oh, we need to put this in. You know, so it is, you know, very much a living document, and,
We reduced that density back down.
Yeah,
More
we,
in alignment with what's in our corner of the city.
Tuesday the 14th, we have that on.
okay, so,
Go back to our city.
well, I guess back to where it's gonna be for, well, no, yeah.
So you want to make a photograph of it, will that help them? I want to be able to show them these images. That we're not rushing it. So
If there's any other marks up there.
Well, you guys, you had it about change, you talked about, it says the time that they turned it back to you, you have multiple meetings that you have talked about it.
we didn't talk about it. We talked about it a lot, but we wanted to make sure.
And we spent a great amount of time tonight.
well, the first of us is what
Oh, that's correct.
Well, we made a lot of changes,
Well, we
you
tweaked.
know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say we made a lot of changes.
Yeah.
We maintained this, we shifted.
Yes.
Actually, I said, the only major change I think we made is that connection down there to Brown or.
This in here.
All of this.
Like, that's the only thing I would consider major.
This is a big deal in terms of the density. I think this would be great.
So, here over to this, stop me if you guys have me going off track. So, make a motion for recommendation of this future land use map to city council, making the adjustments from the original at changing the future land use in the southeast quadrant, kind of back to the original intent, where we have neighborhood transition was reduced, and there's more residential medium density. Added in that core, we've added collector streets along fields, and also extending Brown into Lowell with connectivity of Burdine or any of their future improvements, and a north-south neighborhood collector that would get us from Brown to East Lowell Avenue, and then making an adjustment to Sands with a realignment there, keeping the same type of street that was already proposed, the realignment there. And Burdine is still, or not, Willard Lane would be, just be a collector. I mean, local collector.
Yes.
Thank you. Believe that's the motion? You want to put on it?
All, I think it's all down, that shows. It also.
Document.
Is there any amendments to those comments?
You guys talked about should this yellow color extend into this 40-acre right here, and if you look at the terrain, there's a series of ravines over here, and you also talked about how it's technically outside of your city limits, and so you kind of, while you might incorporate that in the future, the general feeling was we kind of leave like this at this time. Unless you guys do feel strongly about adding on this next story, but that's the way it was left.
Yeah, we talked about extending the green into closer to the park, but, or maybe it was good here, I don't know.
The
It's
OS
hard to
green.
tell.
The OS green or
Sorry,
something.
the neighborhood residential.
Yeah.
Because this is residential medium, right?
Yes.
So,
Here they talk about, at least on this side from the road this
I
way.
know here we have some bigger stuff, but
We
we
transition
have
to
some
that in our.
little
Yeah.
asset develops.
Yeah, that's a good
Since
thought.
we can't do that here,
Yeah.
since we lost this neighborhood,
Okay, so expand your NR over to this over here.
just to give more room for more affordable, or like,
I like that.
The only thing I had.
is this still in motion?
It's still in the, it's still, well, the motion's paused, because we're making sure there's not any additional clarification.
Oh, I don't know.
So no, you can stop, sorry, where we left off.
In between Johnson's Lake and
Should we include that little chunk, or just do this? It was really just the area around the
The-
park, kind of.
The original 1910 lots,
Yeah, like the
the
older
old
lots.
1910
Well, I don't
lots.
want to have that, I don't want to put something in here that discourages commercial.
Oh, that's true.
Because this is a downtown neighborhood still, and, you know, we already have the commercial here. You know, there's already like potential for some commercial here, there's already people looking at it, we already talked about that car wash, the brewery right there. I don't want to discourage commercial, at least on this first half of the law.
Medium.
Well, and mixed use, there's so much good potential, I mean, there's
So-
mixed use in there.
Does NR include that, or?
And have,
you know,
because to me, I'm almost like, do you want to just continue to pink up there? And then
On
green
the
at the
highway,
back?
yeah,
Or do you take the neighborhood transition and you make this what you done?
yeah.
the NR, is just slightly more dense than your RM. It does, it's not presented so much as a mixed use district, but it does say that certain, you know, kind of like at intersections and certain emphasis areas where compatibility is there, you can see some mixed uses happen. But it's, you know, you're gonna apply the nuance when you iron out your zoning to really dial it in a bit more, you know. But if you want to err more towards being open to mixed use through your NR gets you closer to your RM.
Someone came in and said they got one of those small lots, and I said, hey, I want to put a center there. I'm gonna be like, that sounds great.
On the front, yeah. So how do we do the pink along the front? Well, in this case, it's already essentially running as a commercial. That's the background, I think it's. I just cut out copies, so.
They got smoothies.
Okay, so sure.
That's what it is.
What are these long lots? I know you said where's those bigger lots in here? Are they these? Or are they these long ones? With the new houses?
That's the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
These are the long lots.
Well, it can be.
I would say it would be public institution.
Is it
I mean, yeah, open space.
It's very much a civic kind of. Yeah, are you saying this is? Yeah, that should probably be,
Was not the public institution.
you could do either one of those.
It's public / institutional.
Be adopted.
Well, there's a cemetery, or you can, if it's a really small cemetery, I don't think you necessarily want to do a certain color for all of those, because there's one. Okay, it's right there, yeah. So. But if it's like the town cemetery, you know, and it's like a big one, then
No, it makes sense.
So, I feel like we should do pink or something along here if we want these. I know these
Wouldn't
people
do that.
have talked about parking and houses that are another Thursday. It's like for sale and it says. No, that one is here. That's like, it's like this one. That makes sense.
Green or the yellow? You
They say, this is supposed to be residential.
This is.
The pink is.
T and
And then we and R.
I think that could be fine.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I didn't know the pink, because I don't know commercial right now.
T and here to there.
No, I,
Yeah.
well, here's the problem.
You still got the same thing.
Yeah.
But if something was at least called, you're done right, we'll do that.
Right.
And then it's appropriate at the street.
That was not for them.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I mean, that's kind of what we, I mean, I know we talked before like this, everything on here is going to end up going good, but it's just as much. So that's what, and then we will complain about this, and it's like, well, it is a highway.
So I think that's the way this, this feels like a downtown.
Yeah.
Not commercial, this is going to be larger, not the way. So I think it's the same with this. I mean, I think, this can be in addition to your downtown core, park space, and this, then we feel this in addition to your downtown.
Yes, it's really much.
Yeah, it improves access to it, it improves, usability,
Well, here's the thing, there was anywhere else that was out there. I would act like. That way it's, we're, well, there's people back there, it's not too.
Do we keep the neighborhood watch with Johnson? Or
That was really important, but
Because,
like we said, every time we look at this, how do you do anything? Yeah. I'm asking about that, why we would have
So this is a lot flatter. I mean, there's a lot of drops down and stuff, but not like this.
Right.
So when you're really
Well,
looking at
if this is the
extra
higher density, then
like, this can still be a local street control access, you know, to the front of the building. But this will actually get people.
I have a question now. So we're doing TMU on this south side all the way to Clayton, which I do not disagree with. Do we also match TMU to Clayton on the north side, or is there a reason why you would not?
Because that's already commercial properties.
It's already been built for that. And honestly, at this point, I feel like we're transitioning out of that kind of downtown core feel, and then you're getting into more of this. Because I mean, I was thinking the same things like, you know, we want to put this on the green space just because, but, you know, honestly, and we say it's never going to start, but it is. But you know what? I think we have a pretty good, yeah, we have a pretty good idea that that's actually not.
Yes, she's done. Absolutely, she talks.
It's an incredible community asset that y'all have.
Yeah. Okay, so is it fair to say now we'll pick back up with the motion that was paused? The motion was paused, and so the motion has the continuance of adding a neighborhood collector from East Lowell Avenue to East Johnson Avenue going north-south. Changing or extending the TMU future land use to extend all the way along East Lowell Avenue on the south side to Clayton. And then the remaining portion of land that's north of East Johnson would become neighborhood residential in R. From north of Johnson, west of Clayton, up to that line that's designated as TMU. Yeah?
I'll second it.
All right. I made motion, Caleb seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, that recommendation is to the city council.
Officially the longest motion.
Yes. Yes.
With
Actually, it's really not.
Its own spur.
It's really not. You're not going to need all that dialogue in between. You've got the first part of it, and then that's all. Then executive summary, bullet point. No dissertation. No one will read it. Just the bullet points. All right. So this.
Why we did it.
Get her on top of that. Great. All right. And then I think the last order of business is adjourned. So.
I would make the motion to adjourn. We can do that one.
Okay, we make a motion to adjourn. Found second motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. We are now adjourned.
Pure approach. I tried that for last meeting.
Just turn it off.
Right?
Yes, it's 2 hours and something minutes.
No. Now I retract my motion.